Alright, so once logged in, you're going to be in this dashboard area. So it's just a little review to show you what's important and what's not. So first off, you have your dashboard. Not really much going on over here. GoDaddy, you don't really have to mess with it. There's really nothing to do. It's just something that came with the site since you're hosted on GoDaddy. Posts is where you would be doing all of your blog posts and that sort of thing. And so you can see that we can either add new posts right away, look at the posts, or even look at the categories. So for example, if you wanted to have different categories like events happening, okay, team meetings, cancellations, that sort of thing, you can have that. All of these that have an S here are based on the theme. So these are not normal WordPress options, but it came with the theme. So the only one that's really important is going to be this select slider here, and that kind of controls the slider of the home page. These are also pretty cool to mess around with when you want to actually create new pages and stuff, and there's documentation on that within the theme files, and I'll send you guys that. Well, rather, you guys have access to it already, so if you guys want to mess with these and make new pages for that with these, then by all means contact me and I'll give you that. Landing pages is for the MailChimp. I don't really mess with this, but landing page is good if you want to send out an email or a text message to people and send them a direct link to the place where they can subscribe to your blog. Pages is what you would expect. It's all the pages on your site, your home page, your contact page, also the different after-school programs, everything that's basically in the nav menu, and you'll see also other pages that are there as well. Comments isn't something we got to worry about. Don't really need it. The contact forms actually houses your registration forms. So these registration forms, you put them into the pages through a bit called the shortcode. But we'll go over that in a later video. But if you want to see your contact forms, they're in there. Envato Toolkit is not something you have to worry about. It's kind of something that I set up so when the theme has updates, it'll automatically update your site, assuming that everything is going to work fine with the current version of the WordPress. This gets a little bit tricky because GoDaddy sometimes will update your WordPress, and sometimes the theme can't update to the next version. But that's more of a technical thing. Don't worry about it. Appearances, you can look at your menus. So this is for the navigation menu as well as the footer menu. But specifically, like the footer content would actually be found in widgets. So for example, the Instagram feed, the contact form, you would actually find it in this widgets section. Plugins isn't something you got to worry about, but these are basically the different softwares that I've put on your site that kind of help it run. So for example, the contact forms, there's anti-spam, there was WooCommerce on there, so in order to actually take up credit card information, that sort of thing. But obviously that's not being used, so I actually took it out. Users, you can add new users, so there's different levels like administrators, content writers, editors, but really you don't have to worry too much about this. Just if you see, honestly, if you just want to add someone as a user, you can. That's through here. Tools and Visual Composer isn't something that you guys have to worry about. This Visual Composer here is actually how you're going to build the pages. I mean, not specifically here in this section. You're always going to do it in the Pages section. This is just about the options for the Visual Composer. Settings, you don't really have to worry about too much. Layer slider is another form of a slider that can be used on your home page or any page, but it's very, very, very advanced. So there's a lot of different options for it, and it requires a lot of time in order to make your slider just right, especially when you're thinking about mobile and tablet. Finally, you get to Contact Form DB. This is where you would actually see the different contact forms backup databases. So when you don't receive an email from the contact form, it would be stored in here. Instagram feed, this just has your user ID in there just to make sure that it works. It's an API. You don't need to touch this. MailChimp are the different forms that you have, and again, the landing pages. So you can actually see what subscriber list is being used. For your pop-up window, you can change the pop-up window's content from this section. Select options are basically any of the basic options of the theme. So for example, if you wanted to change the rule of what type of font you're going to be using, what size of font, how the headers work, that sort of thing, you would do that here. If you wanted to change the logo, you can do it from here, and there's also a whole bunch of other things that you can kind of change up with the site. Mostly about the way that the theme works or how it looks. Google Analytics, this section is not working, and honestly it's not something that's really needed for the site. This was just something that I have in order to put the code in, and then the weekly reports is going to be something that happens separately, where you actually get an automated email on, for example, Monday morning. And video tutorials, this is actually the generic WordPress video tutorial, so if you want to learn more about how to use WordPress, this is a great resource to kind of see the different videos that are here. So that's just a little overview of your dashboard. So next video we're going to go over I believe how to deal with the registration forms or to change the page.